Hi, hello, good morning, and welcome to the Celebration Space. My name is Kaylee Phelps, and today we are kicking off a management week just because a lot's going on in the world. A lot's been going on in the world for all of 2020. This is being recorded October 26th, 2020, so we are just a little bit away from the election. The days are getting shorter, the holidays are coming up, so I wanted to really just dive into some good management techniques across the board. And if you hear some chomping, Millie is over there eating, but I wanted to talk about 2 ways to manage your mess, and this is really something that is going to be more after you've done the work to get organized. So there's a lot of emphasis on getting things to where you want them to be, but then the maintenance is a whole other dragon to slay. So something that is kind of a special psychological torture for me, as an individual, is that I like to knock things off of a to-do list and I like to be done. And one of the things with organization and mess and to-do lists and just kind of all of these things is that you're never actually done. So I would say the first thing is really just to lean into knowing that you're never going to be totally done with all of managing your mess. But there are 2 specific ways that I want to outline, and really, rather than being like one road or the other, it's really more of a sliding scale, I would say. So it's 2 opposites of the same scale. So one side is being in a constant state of low grade tidying, while the other end is picking up big messes at different parts of time, different parts of your day, different parts of your week, maybe different parts of your month, depending on what your definition of tidy is and what that looks like for you. So it looks like we might have a Millie appearing, but so those are the 2 ends of the spectrum. So either constant low level tidying or really big bouts of picking up. So for me, I do not have children. I have 2 cats, and I live with my partner Tyler. So the amount of mess that we accumulate in a day is very different than those who have very different things going on in their lives. If you've ever lived alone, one of my favorite things about before I even had Dolly, my older cat, living alone, you leave the house and you come back and it is exactly the way you left it. It's not the same when you start living with someone else or when you start having pets and kids in the mix. Also, I have been a nanny, I've been a babysitter for just about all of my life, and I think since I was 14. And when I was a nanny, one of my favorite things to do for the parents that I would work with would be, after the kids go to bed, even just getting some things tidied up into a place where they were manageable, so that when the parents got home, all they had to really do was take care of themselves and get to bed. So just, trying to manage piles, trying to get a dishwasher running overnight is a beautiful thing. And for me, my personal philosophy is that I don't like to go to sleep on a mess. So a lot of people will say don't go to sleep when you are in a fight with your partner or with a loved one. And so I'm a night owl by nature, so I usually will stay up, and I would rather tidy up and clean things up before going to sleep then wake up and have to do it in the morning. If your nature is a little bit different, maybe you're the first person awake in your household. That is not me, that is Tyler, or probably Millie actually, but that is something that maybe that is where your priority lies, and maybe you are just trying to get things tidy at the beginning of your day and tidy at the end of your day, or just once a day. I just recently heard a quote that I thought was pretty funny, that trying to clean a house while having kids in it is like trying to brush your teeth while eating Oreos. So I thought that was definitely something that is probably relatable for a lot of the parents here, and something that I would recommend on that front is really just staying positive on what your goals are for your own space. And also, I like to clean and tidy while I'm just by myself. So I think delegating different tasks depending on how old your kids are is great. I think the first chore that I ever had as a child was my mom would have my brother and I sit down with the laundry and just match socks and roll them into a ball. So it was kind of a matching game and getting some of that tedium out of the way that she didn't want to do. So just depending on what you can really try to delegate to your own children or the people in your house, and also sectioning off things. Tyler and I want to do a video about combining all of our different spaces and all of our different things together when we moved into our apartment together, and delegating different areas to be the responsibility for different people. Also, just having the wherewithal to just shut a door when you need to shut a door, or just shove things into a closet when you need to shut a closet. I also like to clean up before I leave the house so that when I get back, all I have to do is focus on, getting myself back around and getting back into whatever my next task is, rather than trying to clean up. But of course, the cats normally have something messed up. But what I'm really trying to say is that this can be something that you're not necessarily always doing low grade tidying on one end or always doing one big mess cleanup on the other. It can be somewhere along that sliding scale, and that is something totally dependent on you, your home, the people in it, and what your definition of tidy is. So I also want to clarify that I'm talking about being tidy, not necessarily clean. So really just, putting dishes, getting dishes off the counter, maybe not wiping down the counter, but getting dishes off the counter, getting things out of the living room, getting clothes folded and put on top of a dresser, or laying over a chair rather than being on the floor. Just getting a stack of bills put together on top of a desk rather than having them on the kitchen table or the dining room table. Those are the types of things that I'm talking about. And another tip that I want to have for this, or something that, like I said, the psychological torture of never being quite done, something that I also like to do is, after I do a big tidy or a big clean, is just get out of the house and get everyone out of the house that can get out. So at least for a period of time, there is a clean home that is preserved in a little capsule, and then when I come back, just letting it go and letting it be, and then determining how to get back on that schedule of one end or the other. So yes, that is the two ways that I recommend, really managing your mess once you have yourself to a place that you feel you are in a good spot to keep it managed, and also just giving yourself some grace and knowing that, especially while we're all at home during this time, you're going to have more mess than you probably normally would when your kids were going to school, when your partner was going into the office, or when you were running more errands, seeing more friends, doing things more out in the world. So just giving yourself that grace and continuing to fight the good fight, even though we'll never quite be done. So I hope that this is helpful. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or recommendations of your own for managing your mess, please drop them in the comments below. Please check out the blog, the shop. I'm working on some really fun things that are coming out this week and in the coming weeks, especially for the holidays. And that is all I have for you today. Until next time, enjoy celebrating today.